Gwendolyn Alexander asks, how do you stay positive and focused when the world gets chaotic? Do you tune out the noise? This is yes. Yes, I tune out the noise. Yes, the world gets chaotic. Yes, I get overwhelmed by it. I will tell you, the news in the past few weeks has occasionally made me physically nauseous. But I have a point of view on that chaos right now, which is that the chaos is the point, not the things that sound chaotic. And my self-axiom is, if I'm getting all worked up over this stuff without a clear cause of action, just reading stuff that's making me mad, I stop reading it. If I am mad, I am not being productive. Look, if I made it sound like it's easy for me to turn off my high emotions, it is not. But I'm definitely on a much more titrated news reception program. It's mostly just sort of like scanning the headlines from a distance and sort of getting a rough idea of what's going on. I have responsibilities in the world, and I have to bound what I can have an effect upon. So I have a family to support, and this channel, and these are the important things to me. So I concentrate on those things right now in this space, and it doesn't fully eliminate the noise of the chaos, but it definitely lowers the volume. There's only so much any individual one of us can do. And those kind of mental health strategies, I mean, it's a lot of what many of my friends and I and we are talking about when we get together. I also remind myself that in my interactions with people around the world, I'm very clear that a large portion of my fan base doesn't agree with me politically. And despite that, I have never gone out in the world where red states, blue states, giant events, small events. Politics has never been part of any of those appearances. It's just people. So I remind myself, this is a beautiful country full of lovely people, and I've met tens and tens and tens of thousands of them, and I have almost a universally good experience of that. So I remind myself of things like that I do believe in the inherent goodness of people. That is part of my optimism. And literally last night we were playing cards with our friends, and we were talking about like the different versions of news blackouts we're all working on. Good luck. Let's see here. Okay. Simon Sturgarden Nielsen. Simon Sturgarden Nielsen. Simon Sturgarden Nielsen. Okay. I'm not going to try it again. Hey, ask this question. I'm about to embark on a fun, extra part-time job as an assistant teacher for a cosplay course. That sounds like fun. Helping kids between 15 and 18 years old making their own costumes. What advice do you have for kids who are new to cosplay and may be reluctant or insecure about showing off their costumes to friends and or family? Oh, what a lovely, lovely thing to talk about and to do. This is great. So first of all, I think you can talk about it directly as like, we're going to be working on cosplay, which means, cosplay isn't just putting on a costume. It's thinking about a narrative or a franchise that means something to you and finding and pouring your body into that narrative, that franchise. You're donning the franchise, right? And that's a powerful process, but it's also a very vulnerable one. And sometimes when we touch those parts of ourselves deep inside, much of the time when we're touching those parts of ourselves deep inside, we are incredibly vulnerable. And so I would state outright to the attendees of the class that it is a no shame zone. Nobody is to be shamed for trying something on or trying something out. or hitting a pose that, like, if someone's just learning the guitar and you're showing them a C chord and they get it wrong, you don't go, "Wrong, idiot." But that's what kind of like, "You look dumb" is the version of that. So it's really important to tell them, I think, that this can be, it's not always, but it can be a powerful process. You can have some feelings, and those feelings are okay, and you don't have to share them with anybody else, but you might have them, and it's important for you to recognize that other people might have them and to be gentle with them. The other thing I might do is you might come up. I find myself wanting to go to something like that and bring. Do I have the? No, I don't have them nearby. I brought in my my Witch King gauntlets that were made by Crop Circle up in Florida, Scott Makeable and his people, and they're magnificent. And when you put them on, honestly, so many people have come through this cave, and I put them on, and they're like, "Oh, oh!" And when you put them on, you open your hand, it goes stick, like a snick, right? The Wolverine. It's beautiful sound, and plus they move really well. They're gorgeously made gauntlets, and when you put them on, you have a feeling. You feel kind of powerful. If I was teaching your course, I would bring in some costume pieces that would elicit that kind of feeling, and I'd ask everyone to come up and try them out. Not to explain how they feel necessarily if they don't want to, but just to experience that. Oh, yeah. This is, when I was in high school and I first started getting into costuming, I was a junior in high school, and Mad Max, the Mad Max was playing on HBO constantly. So I really loved Max's leather jacket and his big football armor on one arm. And I ended up doing that, making a jacket like that with football armor. And then I hammered an aluminum forearm. And one of my classmates said something insulting to me, and I talked back to him, and he went, "Check out Adam, all confident with some metal on his arm." And I told this story a million times, but like, boy, did he see me and use that sight for evil, because I felt like pinned and exposed. But it's true. I did feel confident with some metal on my arm. And that's, that little feeling is still something I get out of putting on one of the costumes in my collection if I'm really feeling it. And then you might also have people who are like, "I don't know who I want to dress up as or what I want to make, or I don't think that that's possible." And, for stuff where you may be teaching some foam techniques, I'd start with some really rudimentary stuff like paper and scissors and masking tape. Make hard parts out of cardstock, out of foam core, out of corrugated cardboard from Amazon boxes. Those low threshold to entry excursions, it's going to be difficult to satisfy everyone's vision within the course of a class, however long it is. So you do have to do, as the supervisor, I think, as the teacher, some bounding of the will, but at the same time, you could just bound it for the purpose of the class, and they can go on and use the skills you're teaching to finish that costume later. Oh my God, that sounds so thrilling. What's really exciting to me is to give them some language about kindness and about the emotional aspect of the creativity and about interacting with each other within that frame. That is some lifetime stuff to secretly give people, because they're learning a language of something that is not necessarily obvious. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this class. Let us know how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to briefly mention that you could become a tested member. I know, everybody is competing for you to become a member of their thing. What I want to express to you is that the tested membership has become such an important part of the tested family. We get tremendous feedback from the tested members, and they expand the stories that we can tell and the things that we have access to, and you can become a part of it right now by clicking on the link below. See you in the chat.